that Maher deliberately went there knowing he would piss off all the wokies, and they're pissed off, for bending the knee to Trump.
Bill Maher is surprising everyone, not just people on the left, but also many on the right. In a recent clip, he shocked Piers Morgan, Kid Rock, Megyn Kelly, and others with the things he said about Donald Trump. Maher, who used to strongly criticize Trump, now seems to be changing his mind. Some people think he's just doing it for attention, while others believe he's having a real change of heart. He even agreed to meet or have dinner with Trump, which upset a lot of people who once supported him. Many from the woke crowd are now turning against him, calling him out for what they see as betrayal. But at the same time, some conservatives are surprised by this shift, especially since Maher used to have strong anti-Trump views not long ago. In this video, you'll see the moment where Bill Maher leaves Piers Morgan speechless with what he says about Trump. It looks like his strong dislike for Trump, what many call Trump derangement syndrome, might be fading away. Let's watch the clip and see what's really going on.
Obviously a very big liberal, been very hard on the president, but he's donating a lot of money to other politicians. You know, you've had Biden, Clinton, Obama, everybody. He had never been to the White House, and the president was so gracious. He took us up to the private residence. We saw the Gettysburg Address in the Lincoln bedroom, and I was like, "You've never been here, Bill?" And I was like, "How about this, President Trump, you know, extending this olive branch," and we talked about things we had in common, you know, ending wokeness, you know, securing the border. You know, the president was asking him what he thought about policy, you know, going on with Iran and Israel and things. It just it blew my mind.
Now, I really wish I'd been at that dinner, because the idea of Kid Rock, Dana White, Donald Trump, Bill Maher, that's a fun dinner. But secondly, it's interesting that Maher deliberately went there knowing he would piss off all the wokies, and they're pissed off, for bending the knee to Trump. The MAGA crowd are pissed off because they don't think the president should be entertaining dinner at the White House with a man who once said he'd donate $5 million to a charity if Trump could prove he wasn't the...
Bill Maher is surprising everyone, not just people on the left, but also many on the right. In a recent clip, he shocked Piers Morgan, Kid Rock, Megyn Kelly, and others with the things he said about Donald Trump. Maher, who used to strongly criticize Trump, now seems to be changing his mind. Some people think he's just doing it for attention, while others believe he's having a real change of heart. He even agreed to meet or have dinner with Trump, which upset a lot of people who once supported him. Many from the woke crowd are now turning against him, calling him out for what they see as betrayal. But at the same time, some conservatives are surprised by this shift, especially since Maher used to have strong anti-Trump views not long ago. In this video, you'll see the moment where Bill Maher leaves Piers Morgan speechless with what he says about Trump. It looks like his strong dislike for Trump, what many call Trump derangement syndrome, might be fading away. Let's watch the clip and see what's really going on.
Of his mother having sex with an orangutan. So on all sides, Bill Maher was copping it, as he knew he would, but he still went. And the thing that really struck me, Megan, was he'd been a big donor to, I think, to Biden, to Obama, to the Clintons and others. He'd never been to the White House before. It took Donald Trump to invite him there, and despite the fact that every week on his show, Bill Maher hammers him. What did you think of it?
Yeah. I mean, as you and I both know, Trump is quick to make up with the people he's irritated with, as long as you show him good humor and good grace. You know, as long as you don't hold a grudge, he doesn't hold a grudge. Yeah. I mean, I think we can both speak to that personally. And I think the same is true with Bill Maher. Trump is better at it than anyone. So the question was really, is Bill Maher any good at it? You know, will Bill Maher be able to go in there and be nice to Trump? And I'd love to hear more about Bill's own experience. He says he'll speak to it on his show this Friday. But that's been my one problem with Bill.
Well, actually, I can tell you,
he's like you and I
he's
are.
actually doing it. Yeah, well, he's doing it, I think, he's not on this Friday. He's on the Friday after, and by coincidence, I'm doing that show. So I'm going to hear it sitting next to him. It should be, and I'm really interested.
Yeah, both of those.
I think it was a good thing to do.
With Bill. So he's been with us on the anti-wokeness front. He's been fighting those wars just as long as we have. He's against that nonsense on gender, on the DEI stuff. But with respect to Bill, he has TDS, and it's been rather severe. Trump derangement syndrome. And it's been the one thing that he just cannot see clearly through. And this isn't long ago. You know, he came on my show just before the election, a few months before the election. And as soon as I, made clear I was supporting Trump, like, he couldn't even really look at me. He seemed irritated. And I like Bill, but he really can't stand Donald Trump. So maybe it took somebody.
This is exactly why I'm still super skeptical about Bill Maher and others like him. I feel like they're just being opportunists, not actually waking up or seeing the truth. It reminds me of what happened with Cenk Uygur. On election night, during Patrick Bet-David's live stream, Cenk was almost in tears when Trump won. He looked completely shocked and emotional, but the very next day he changed his tune and said he was optimistic about Trump's campaign. Ever since then, he hasn't really been anti-Trump anymore. Sure, he's not openly pro-Trump either, but it's clear his stance has shifted. Cenk has been deep in the woke crowd for years and had a major case of Trump derangement syndrome. Then suddenly, just because Trump won the popular vote, something that hasn't happened for Republicans in a long time, he changes his attitude. It feels off. And honestly, I see the same thing happening with Bill Maher. One moment, he's calling out woke nonsense and telling people like Gavin Newsom not to hate Trump. The next, I start wondering if it's all just for attention. I'm not fully convinced that these people are changing because they believe in something new. It just feels too convenient. But hey, that's just how I see it. What do you think? Are Bill Maher and others truly waking up, or are they just jumping on a new trend for clout? Let me know in the comments. I really want to hear your thoughts.
It's like crazy and fun and just loose as Kid Rock to say, come on, why don't you just meet with him for Bill to let the veil down a little and maybe take a fresh look at this guy who's been so demonized by probably everybody Bill knows socially.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because he'll have Ann Coulter on his show all the time, Bill. He's not like he's against, talking or interviewing with or even dining with conservatives, but he has had an issue with Trump. That's why I'll be riveted to know what actually happened over dinner.
Well, I heard the one piece of news I heard was that Bill showed up with a piece of paper that had all the terrible things that Trump had said about Bill Maher on it, and he showed it to Trump, and Trump signed it.
I love that.
It's honestly kind of hilarious when you think about it. Donald Trump might have the thickest skin of anyone in politics. I mean, what more can you throw at the guy? He's been lied about, mocked, slandered, and none of it seems to faze him. That stuff is nothing to him. But even more extreme, someone literally tried to take his life during a speech, and he still stood right back up like nothing happened, yelling, "Fight, fight, fight." You've all heard that story. And now, even after all the nasty things Bill Maher has said about him over the years, Trump's like, sure, bring him in for a meeting. That takes serious strength and confidence. It shows just how thick-skinned he really is. And honestly, that's something to respect.
He would. Let's talk about Cory Booker for a moment, because I don't know what you thought, but watching Cory Booker speak for a whole day, 24 hours, let's have a clip of some of it.
Would the senator yield for a question?
Chuck Schumer, it's the only time in my life I can tell you no.
I just want to tell you a question. Do you know you have just broken the record? Do you know how proud this caucus is of you? Do you know how proud America is of you?
Now, part of me was like, what a lot of pointless. Yeah, I know. And part of it is very irritating. I completely get that. But was there also a slight method to his madness?
I'll be honest with you. I don't really care that much myself. But clearly a lot of people do. This whole conversation about Bill Maher possibly meeting with Donald Trump is making huge waves. It's surprising how much attention it's getting. Sure, it's a big deal in some ways, but the reaction from both sides has been intense. So now I want to hear from you. But what do you think about all this? What are your thoughts on Megyn Kelly and Piers Morgan's takes? What do you think about Trump inviting Bill Maher and Bill Maher actually accepting? Is Maher just being an opportunist? Or is this a genuine shift? Drop your opinions in the comments. I'm really curious to see what you all think.